Well, welcome everybody. My name is Barb Howe, and I do business development here at the Colorado Department of Agriculture for Colorado Proud. So, welcome to our July webinar. And today we're talking about Colorado agritourism and how we all are, but they certainly are connecting Colorado's ag experiences. Today we have Corey Mim, who is the executive director of the Colorado Agritourism Association, as well as Lori and Scott Mitchell, who owns Sageview Ranch, which is an agritourism business, which will be fantastic to learn about. Just a couple reminders when our presenters are presenting. Please just mute your microphones. This helps eliminate background noise. As many of us are in our homes these days, dogs barking is a normal thing. That's great, but this kind of helps just we can hear everybody speak. We welcome and encourage questions. Raise your hand or type it in the chat. I'll be monitoring that. And we will ask for questions after each speaker and then again at the end. So don't hesitate if you think of something down the road. And if you come up with a question after the webinar, reach out to these speakers or let me know. This is my email address, barb.howe@state.co.us. So thank you all for joining. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our amazing guests here. And we'll start with Corey. Corey, welcome. Thanks for doing this with us.
You bet. I'm just pulling up my screen here and we'll get going. Hi. Is that showing up for everyone?
That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So let's just talk a little bit about agritourism. I see some of the names on the participant list and know that you are somewhat familiar with agritourism, but a couple names I don't recognize. So we'll go through this pretty quickly. And that's a good idea to maybe put where you're from and what your business is in the chat. So then that way we all just get to know each other a little bit more. So agritourism is essentially anytime you invite the public onto your farm or ranch. So it's really a blending of agriculture and tourism, as the name suggests. And tourism is kind of evolving into much more of an experiential type of thing these days. And agritourism really plays into that. And it's definitely one of the strengths of our industry. So it includes anything from lodging, food and drink, animal interaction, education, special events like weddings or music nights or things like that, and outdoor recreation, um, just depending on the location. So, examples you can see. There's a whole slew of them here, and I'm sure a number of you have multiple of these items on your establishments. But it really just shows the extent of how agriculture and tourism can link together, right? So it just experiences that people share with their family and friends, and it really creates a lot of memories, as well as great photography, right? And everybody's into their selfies and bragging about stuff on social, so we fit right into that. um, and ways to be successful in agritourism is really cooperating with others in the community to build itineraries. We see a lot of success with that, and we'll get more into that in a little bit. The other thing is cooperating with other, one of the things we've been noting lately is cooperating with other producers in the area to create kind of this fame. So Palisade peaches and Pueblo chilies, and you think about the opportunities that are there for different regions of the state to kind of um, own those products and be known for them. And the power of that is really amazing because it just um, creates revenue exponentially. So anyway, lots of opportunities. Sorry, I get really excited about this stuff. So talking about agritourism as an industry. So in the state of Colorado, well, let's do international first. So international is about a $10 billion industry worldwide. And there are tons of examples of it in Europe, South America, South Africa, all over the world. So it's really not something, we think of it in our own little spaces that we're in this real niche industry, but it's really quite extensive. and it's expected to continue to grow. In the US, we represent about 40% of the industry worldwide. So it's over $3 billion, and it's expected to grow 11 to 12% year over year through 2030, which is pretty phenomenal growth. I mean, that's better than the stock market's doing. That's better than a lot of other industries are seeing. So really, the takeaway here is that there's huge opportunity, right? In Colorado, we're the third state in the country. It's a $67 million industry within the state, and over 900 farms and ranches participate. Um, and we produce so on average for each farm or ranch that participates, it represents an additional $73,000 in income per year, which is especially in our rural areas, nothing to sneeze at, right? That's the way that we can keep somebody from the next generation involved. Maybe a brother or a sister can help get involved, and we all know it's tough to get revenue out of farms and ranches unless you're one of the big players. And the beauty of our of agriculture as a whole is to keep farms and ranches owned by Colorado residents. So this is just it's such a great way to be able to augment income for landowners. The top counties in our state by the number of businesses that participate in agritourism. So you can see them here: Route, Larimer, Moffett, Weld, Mesa, Elbert. And the top counties by sales. So that means the revenue per farmer ranch is Grand, Route, Weld, Delta, and Rio Blanco. So you can see, I mean, it's really an economic development strategy for rural Colorado. So why would you want to undertake this? I have this conversation with my brother all the time. We have a family farm and ranch, and the debate of, do you want somebody on your property? Don't you want somebody on your property? Oh, when you have somebody asking the same stupid question like, oh, which came first, the chicken or the egg, right? I mean, that's what it gets down to. Um, so the reasons that you would want to do it, and you have to balance this by, the personalities within your own family and understanding what it takes to undertake agritourism business. And the public is an interesting group. They can be wonderful and they can be not so wonderful. So you need to go in with eyes wide open and make sure that you're understanding how it can change your day-to-day life. All of a sudden, it's not just about what the cows and the goats are doing or the hail or the wind. It's also about what the public's doing and how you merge their interests and their concerns with the ones that you have of running your actual agriculture production business. So there's a lot to grapple with, but the good things about it are being able to drive the revenue, like we talked about. Um, and really, you're sharing the legacy of what we experience working and living on farms and ranches with other people. So you're helping them have family experiences that enrich their lives, that help create bonds between you all and your family with other families around the country or the world for that matter. You also help create name recognition for your own product. So if you're selling a jam or a jelly or you know, we had one place that actually sold alpaca droppings and sold them, and people bought them and put them in their garden. So you just never know what people are going to grab onto. Also, this it taps into a really important thing that we're seeing more and more interest in, which is educating consumers about where their food comes from, about farming and ranching, the lifestyle, our rural heritage. The more people get locked into their city cubes and their small dwellings, the more they crave space and grounding and wellness and the whole trend of wellness and well-being and a focus on that is plays right into what we can offer up into the market. So additionally, it also helps educate people on regenerative agriculture and the importance of the health of soil and water and natural resources, and educating people about all that. As we get more and more population in the world, the more interrelated everything is. So helping educate people about all of that is an important thing too. And the thing is with agritourism, talking about how the importance of collaborating with others in the area. So it creates, if you have people at your farm or ranch for whatever reason, and it helps the lodging in town if you don't offer that, or maybe people go experience a music event down by the river, or it just helps people will experience different things around the community, which helps elevate the rural economic area. So continuing on for some of the benefits. So there's a benefit to the people that come and experience it, as well as to the people hosting, and then obviously the economic side of it. Also helping encourage the local consumption of foods, creating that connection between growers and consumers, and supporting local farmers. Yeah, excuse me, I've got some allergies. There's a lot of stuff in the air today. Some other kind of side benefits are it kind of under the idea that it takes a village to help support all this is building the political support for agriculture and agritourism, protecting our agricultural land, advocating for issues that are important to farmers and ranchers. The more people understand about what's going on, the more voters who may not have any idea what happens on a farm or a ranch, the more that they understand the lifestyle and understand what happens, the more they are likely to support and um, advocate for the importance of agriculture and agritourism in our areas. Also, developing channels to market products and services, and you can see what the rest of that is. I don't need to read it to you. So once you are embarking on agritourism, how do you promote your business? So we've already talked a bit about partnering with other organizations, and that really becomes important in marketing. None of us have the budget to be able to market to this international market that we're describing. And if you take that to the broadest scope, but then you think about it takes a lot of money even to market nationally and even throughout the state of Colorado. So we always recommend doing the small things on your own. So things like working with our organization, the Colorado Agritourism Association, you can list your business for free, sign up for our newsletter. And then we're always working with other organizations around the state, like Colorado Proud, Colorado Tourism Office. Colorado Proud also has a lot of ways that you can get involved and help market your business through their directories and their logos for your products and things like that. So there's a lot of partnerships that exist within the industry. So you're not just doing it on your own. You're not just starting from scratch. And even if you've been in it a long time, sometimes we forget, oh, when was the last time I looked up my listing on Colorado Tourism Office? I wonder if I, haven't updated that in 5 years. So these are just kind of good reminders, regardless of where you are in your experience level. There are always reminders and new opportunities coming up of how to partner with other groups. Things like the farmers markets, there might be, wherever the nearest one is in your area. The byways are really good, the fruit and veggie growers, the Colorado Jude and Guest Ranch Association. So there are all these organizations that have similar interests and backgrounds that have some crossover. So if you think about the budget of the Colorado Tourism Office, they have the tentacles out in all the different markets nationally and internationally. So the more you can help grow out your business's profile online, on our sites, on the CTO's site, on social media, the more likely consumers are to be able to find you. And you can help use bigger budgets to help promote your business as well. The same thing goes for regional and local destination marketing organizations. It might be your Convention and Visitors Bureau or your Chamber of Commerce, downtown partnerships, economic development organizations. The Mountain Bike Riders Association or Cross Country Ski Association, depending on what kind of things that you offer on your property. Food and beverage and farm trails, those are really popular in a way to link those kinds of interests around the state. There are wine trails, there are beer trails, there are bike and beer trails, there are distillery trails. So there's just a lot of ways to be able to plug into things that are bigger than you, that help collaborate and get the word out about everybody involved. Same thing with itineraries, cooperating with local partners. So, for instance, it's hard to convince somebody to drive from, let's say, Denver to Cortez, Colorado, to go to one thing, right? A 2-hour wine tasting, let's say. But if you have partners that put together wine tasting and farm tours and an outdoor rec experience and a family night and maybe a museum, something or other, so you cooperate with a bunch of other areas and you build out a suggested 2 or 3 day itinerary. You see this all the time in magazines and online where it's like 3 perfect days in wherever and 2 perfect days here. If you only have 1 day, do this. If you have 3 days, you can do all these things, and it's just a great way to catalog for potential visitors what all there is to do in your area. So those are some things that, excuse me, that you can take advantage of and that really help make it easier for you. If you are doing lodging on your site, you can see there's a number of different opportunities of how you can create bookings. If you don't have lodging on your site, then you're really working, then you really, really want to work with other partners because what do people need to do? They need to eat, drink, and they need somewhere to sleep, right? Some and go to the bathroom. That's the fun part that, we don't like to talk about. It's true, and it's a big consideration. So you always want to provide people all their comfort um, tips and where they can go to do all the things they need to do. Some of the tools of the trade, and this gets back to some of those marketing opportunities. So this is just a snapshot of our website. We do offer free listings for businesses in the under the idea that we really want to be able to provide a comprehensive listing of all the agritourism activities and possibilities that there are around the state of Colorado. It's always a work in progress, so it takes 5 minutes maybe, so go ahead and go on and list your business, and that just helps build out the agritourism community for visitors to find in the state. This is another tool that we've developed through the Agritourism Association. One of the first things that people do as they're looking to start or expand their agritourism offerings, sorry, is to, oh God, what do I have to do? What are the permits and the regulations? And a lot of that is driven at the county level. So we've worked for a number of years to create this database of county requirements and permits and all of that kind of thing. So you can go on and utilize this site and you can put in your own county, and then you can put in whether you're doing, for instance, a special event or lodging or whatever. And it'll populate either websites or documents that describe what your own county's regulations are. So the more we use this, and we're hoping to get the county staff to start using these as well. And our end goal is to create best practices around the industry that the planners and regulators start following so that it becomes a friendlier environment so that it helps support the whole industry. That's really at the core of what the Agritourism Association is all about. Here's another tool the University of Minnesota has put together. This is a business planning tool. It's free to use and it's iterative. So you can go in and create your own document. You could share it, if you have your mother, father, brother, sister who works with you and is a partner, but they're 2 or 3 hours away. You can work together on this plan. If you're ever going for financing or grants or anything like that, this helps create a business plan that you can then use for other things. It's also a great business planning tool. So this is just a thing that we like to plug because it's really easy to use. So that's pretty much who we are. We evolved out of um, the Colorado Tourism Office. It used to be called the Heritage and Agritourism Committee, and it's now the Destination Development Committee. But it's all about the things that we talked about earlier on: economic development, rural tourism, rural economic development, tourism, dispersion of tourists. So, as there was all this hoopla and kind of pushback from tourists on our state's busiest trails and busiest destinations, this is a great way to go. You want less crowds? Guess what we have? We have lots of space. Come and join us. So that's what how we kind of evolved. One of our early wins was helping get this liability protection passed through the state legislature. And we do offer out, we have sanctioned signs. So there are, these you've seen them like with horse riders, and there are different versions of it, but we got one passed specifically for agritourism, and we do sell the signs out to people that are the legally approved wording, size of font, type of sign, all the stuff that checks all their boxes. So if you're looking for those, we do have those available. Feel free to reach out to me. Um, but basically, our purpose is to help support the industry, help the industry grow, and build that statewide influence and support. Again, we've kind of talked about this all along about the more people are aware of what we do and what we offer and what we preserve and treasure, the more supportive they are of it. So that's really kind of where we focus our time and effort. Also working with our partners, as we talked about, the CTO, participating with the destination development staff, advocating for our agritourism businesses and communities, then creating a space for you all to network, connect, collaborate so that we're all more successful in the end, and helping educate you all to make all of those other efforts more fruitful. Fruitful, huh? Did you like that? Um, so some of the things that we do through the Agritourism Association. So we do things like this. We have an annual meeting. We do webinars. We participate oftentimes at the Governor's Tourism Conference. We have regional workshops. We are upping our social media game. So we're looking for ways to help promote our members more through Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. We've talked a lot about our partnerships, some of our tools and education on those tools, as well as about the industry. We partner with the CTO. We've done a number of things. We got this grant, and the CTO has just completed this photography project around the state. So they're in the process of putting together the assets. So coming soon through the tourism office, there's going to be a whole catalog of photography, video, and drone images that you all can, as part of the industry, can download and use for your own benefit. So if you're going, oh, I just need this idyllic kind of, river setting, and you don't have exactly the right photograph or video, there's going to be a lot of assets for that we've worked with the CTO to produce so that you'll be able to access those. So that's an exciting thing that's coming up. And we talked about the liabilities signage. Another thing we've worked with the CTO on, a couple different things, is we worked on a learning lab, which can help if you have staff. It can help them understand what agritourism is, what the tools are, that kind of thing, and just help. It's a way to help you educate your staff and yourselves if you're interested in doing that. We've been working with them on destination stewardship plans around the state. And then we worked with Longwoods is a company that does the statewide tourism research. And we worked with them to add a couple of questions that will then be able to understand a little bit more about the specific agritourism slice of the tourism pie. So those are some of the things that we do. We work with the CTO on media experiences and showcases, and another great opportunity for you all is if you have something going on, making sure you include the CTO PR team so that they can help get the word out about what you're doing. So some of the things that we're still working on is continue. These are kind of all the things that we've been talking about, just continuing to help grow the industry and spread the word. And I have to do a shameless plug because we are a membership organization. Shameless plug. This is you can see what our vision and mission are, and we've talked a little bit about those. And if you believe in the industry and want to see it grow and be healthy, then we encourage you to join other like-minded businesses so that we can all be more successful. And thanks to all of our board members. And that's us, who we are, and help join us, come along for the ride.
Excellent. So exciting. We did have a question for you. Julie is asking, kind of back towards the beginning of your presentation, is the average income for farmers and ranches data from Colorado or nationwide?
Data was the Colorado slice of the nation, and we have those numbers by county as well. So reach out, I'll look in the chat and just see who specifically was looking, and I can give you your county's information. And then one thing I worked with Lori and Scott on is there's also a really good database that comes out through the state. It's called the Dean Runyon study, and I can send you links to those as well if you need them. But what tourism is in your county,
Mhm.
so that tells us what the whole tourism is, and then we can look at what agritourism does for your community. So there's a few, they don't tie 100% together, but they give you a rough gauge.
Very nice. Does anybody have any questions for Corey or in general about Colorado agritourism or what the Colorado Agritourism Association is doing and everything like that? I don't see any questions. I really liked how you hit on, really the not talked about so much as where people are going to stay and things like that, because you're right. They go out there, and I think we have to think about, are they going to stay on the farm, or do you work with maybe a local motel or hotel to help put them up so they can still enjoy the agricultural side? It's an interesting point. So, well, excellent presentation. Thank you for that. Well, we'll move on and talk with Lori and Scott. And, please, everybody, feel free. If you've got a question for Corey, you can message her directly in the chat or put it in the chat to everybody, and we will address it. So don't worry about that. And certainly you can reach out to Corey. Corey, what's the best way to reach you directly?
I will put all my information in the chat as well.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you for that. Well, Lori and Scott, welcome. We're super excited to hear about you guys and what you're doing at Sageview Ranch. Welcome.
Thank you. Gosh, thank you so much. First of all, thank you for being such an amazing organization. And Corey, thank you for all of the great things. Took more notes. I always love hearing you talk and all of the great information that you share. And we're just so excited to share the opportunity. And thank you for asking us about our journey in agritourism and what we do here on our property and what we're looking at for the future of our ranch here. My name is Lori Mitchell.
And I'm Scott. And we are Colorado proud to be representing Delta County in agritourism.
Absolutely. Our journey actually began back in 2012 when we purchased our rustically beautiful 11-acre location here in Delta County, Colorado, with the dream of creating a sustainable family farm teaching healthy living.
Yeah, and in 2016, we started our journey into qualifying for ag status for our property, which sometimes can be a little cumbersome.
Took 3 years.
It did take us 3 years to get there. Here on the property, we have over 40 apricot trees. Oh, sorry, we
have a cat.
This is our domestic animal. She needs to be on through. Yeah, anyway.
We've gone through.
Go on. So
it's part of the experience.
Yes, totally. I'll tell you what, she certainly is. She greets all of our guests and hangs out with our guests in different unique stays. We'll get to the unique stays in a bit. Totally. But on our property, we have sage fields and juniper forests as well.
Yeah, in 2017, we added chickens.
And in 2018, we added our first goat, Valentine.
Yeah. And this house and the land needed so much work that we decided, gosh, what would it look like to start one room in the house Airbnb and just help fund some of our YouTube University projects? And so that's what we did. We called the county first to find out if there were any restrictions. There were not. We could go ahead and do Airbnb. So we started with one room in the house.
And then our second guest wanted to stay in a bus that we had on the property.
That our son had actually acquired at a bar. So she helped me clean it and she ended up staying here.
And then a lady from Belgium wanted to tent camp on our property after visiting.
And we were like, I wonder where you can tent camp. And then, we tent camp, allowed her to tent camp here.
Yeah.
And then we had another lady that said, you have to do weddings on this property. And we were like, okay, we have so many hard hat projects going on. How in the world are we going to do something like that? So then.
Well, in that same year, our county we live in, Delta County, passed a master plan with agritourism at its core. So we were just stoked. Super excited. All the things that Corey was talking about earlier, agritourism and all those things were in this master plan. And we were so excited to be able to share our goats, our chickens, our trees, our or sage with folks and having the short-term stays. And it evolved into, as we mentioned, the weddings.
So we're gonna share a little bit about our journey and what we have. We're gonna share a presentation with you. Okay, and I'll go ahead and
Great.
get our. Okay, so here's a little bit, we talked to the community and asked people, what do you want to see here in the valley? And people, actually people said, bring people, have them spend their money, and then send them home and they can spread the word.
Talks about those agritourism dollars that Corey was speaking about earlier.
Oh, let's see. It's not working to share. Oh, there we go. There. So, it started with the vision and then working with the community and then creating. And we actually officially got our agriculture status in 2019, which was awesome. And then we had the planning department and 2 county assessors. They came out to the ranch because we wanted to do tent camping and RV stays. So that needed to be state approved. So they came out here on behalf of the state, and we're really excited to see what we wanted to create. And they gave us their approval. And yeah, they were excited to see our rustic ranch and come into fruition.
And we're going to visit a little bit of the things that we offer here, the unique stays. This is a 1926 homestead, so it's almost 100 years old. And that is a little 1-bedroom cottage that we offer for the unique farm stays for folks that want to come and visit and visit with the goats and pet a goat and have a fresh egg. Notice on the front of that house, there's one tree in front of that window. I just want to point that out because that tree is over 50 years old. It is one of the original cherry trees from the property. This year, it actually gave us some fruit.
And it was delicious. So here's some of our unique stays. These are our buses. The bus with a view was the second stay created by the guest. And so we figured that we should listen to our guests because they really know what they're looking for when they come to an agritourism location. So we have 2 buses. We call it glamping.
And another part about the education of the agritourism is you'll notice a sheep camp on the left. That's an original sheep camp to this valley in the North Fork Valley. It's been here since the 40s, and we get to explain to folks that this thing existed to live in the mountains with its shepherd and the sheep and give them a little bit of unique state or unique information about that.
And our teepee, this was Ute Indian land here in Delta County. And so we have a teepee and people get to stay, and it has a king size bed and offers some great photo ops, as you can see, for some of our wedding couples.
Our red wagon is another little unique stay. That's just tiny enough for one person, but again, it's great for a person to get up off the ground that want to come experience what it's like here in an agritourism business. Because as we know, there are people that live in concrete jungles that never get to see a tree or a goat or a chicken or hear the birds sing or see a deer wander across. It's just absolutely beautiful.
And then the tent camping, and you can see the view out of one of the tent sites along with the one that's in the juniper forest. So people get to pick and choose what they prefer.
As previous travelers ourselves, we know that folks sometimes bring their RVs along with them for camp stays. Corey touched on Harvest Host and Boondockers Welcome, some of those organizations, and we subscribe, or we are a part of some of those, and we get to have people come and visit with their RVs.
And then we found that people wanted to do weddings here because they love goats and chickens and they love to be on a farm. And so our niche is destination. So they come and stay and bring all their friends and family and get lots of photo ops with any animals that they want. And yeah, enjoy the things that are on the property, and the people that come here from other areas out of state that aren't used to being in nature, they get a lot of variety.
Absolutely. I was just going to make that point too. This drives home why we do what we do. Getting to allow people to interact with these animals, these agriculture animals. It's not like the cat that walked across our screen earlier, although she does interact with them too. But these are animals that we get to raise and get to learn about, and they get to learn with us as we go.
And this was a group, we have a lot of groups, and this was a wedding bridal shower, and they came to stay for the weekend. And how does it get better than holding baby goats, you guys?
I even love baby goats.
Oh, and thanks for letting us share our pictures, by the way. It's so fun to go through these.
It is. We do. We also do music and events on the property. We've had a mariachi band up on our deck, doing some singing for a wedding event we had, and then we also
Just recently
had this group in the lower right hand corner, Moors and McCumber, and they were serenading Stella the goat.
She is our goat tender, and she absolutely loved them. That's why I had to share this picture, because she turned and watched them sing to her. It was so fun. So in 2023, we received our liquor license, and we opened our Cardinal Cantina bar and hired and trained our goat tender. And so that's Miss Stella. And it really is the full development plan that we created, and now it's been all in place since 2023, and we're able to really focus on, like you were saying, how do we connect with more people? How do we bring more people here to the valley? And as you can see with Stella, our goats are super friendly. They've been raised around people, and so this young lady, because everything is kid friendly as well, and so Stella so she found a friend.
A bit back to the education portion, we have school groups come in. These pictures are from the Aspen High School kids that came in, and they've been out here a few years, and they come out for a week at a time, and they get to visit with the goats. They get to understand how we take care of all of our animals, what we do for chores on the property, and then they stay here on property in tents.
And it's so great because people call it the goat parade. So we walk our goats about an hour every day, and people that are here staying can walk with the goats. And it's just one of the highlights, because people really get to see what they do, and that they are really like goat dogs. And having this group and educating people, it's really been super fun as well, because we've learned about more of the farm stays. We've been up here doing what we're doing to create, and these students have been traveling to other agritourism locations in our valley, and we've been able to learn from them.
Chicken Head was a big hit with that group. Our chickens do tricks apparently. But seriously, teaching about how it all works, and it brings a connection to where, as Corey mentioned, where our food comes from. There's a lot of folks that eat eggs and a lot of folks that eat chicken. We're just an egg producer. We don't raise meat birds, but they get to understand how it all comes.
And it creates the environment for future farmers, right? So we have over 40 apricot trees, like Scott was saying, and we also have pear trees and plum trees on the property as well. And one of the things that we were told by our county is that, looking at agriculture versus commercial. So with us drying our fruit and freezing our fruit instead of doing jams and jelly keeps us in ag, as opposed to having to get a commercial license to sell the commercial. And as you can see, that upper right, that's Princess when she was a baby, and she literally gets in the trees and would knock the fruit down to help people pick. So yeah. And we have sage, Artemisia sage, like Scott was mentioning, on the property. And we do smudge sticks and sachets because it keeps the integrity of the sage as it is. Instead of, one of the things I've really wanted to do is make goat milk soap. We can do that for our guests, but selling it would create commercial.
And this is in action. Valentine there, the goat on the right-hand side, she approves of the egg collection. Maybe she was even helping collect them. I'm not really sure. But just illustrates what we do here on the property for the agriculture. we milk our goats and we show folks how that happens, and it's really a fun process, and
we offer herd shares. The state of Colorado is one of the states that we can actually do herd shares and offer milk to people in exchange for boarding fees. So it's a whole thing, but we can do it. And goat milk, I'm not sure if you know, but it's the closest thing to mother's milk aside from camel. I haven't tasted camel milk yet, but that is the closest. Otherwise, it's goat milk in the raw. Even people that are lactose intolerant can drink goat milk and be able to handle it.
So what do we see for the future? Well, you probably could tell that we love what we do. We really enjoy educating, sharing our property, sharing our animals. And, we see that it's not going to make us millionaires or billionaires, and that's okay because we love what we do. We get to work from home, we get to work together
Which
and
is
on this
fun.
land. And, we get to be stewards of this property and stewards of this land. And we get to share others our passion and our intensity for it, and perhaps plant a little seed. See what I did there? And into their future.
And guess really, it's so amazing because people talk about how, oh my gosh, I slept better than I ever have. I can't believe how beautiful it is here. They really feel the connection with the land and with nature and getting away from the city life, getting away. We have so many people that come here to this valley from the Denver area. It's actually one of my favorite drives. It's just 4 hours. And come here to, like you were saying, Corey, there are so many people here that do different events and wine tours and things like that, that people come here and then we offer the unique fun places to stay along with others. So it gives that opportunity for people to get away and spend a few days. They also here on our ranch specifically, people love the rusticness of our ranch, that it's non-commercial, and I have to say that our fancy porta potties is a highlight.
People gotta go.
And it is a win-win, and it truly is our economic driver. But I have to show you these porta potties and share just a story, because we had a contractor that came here and he came out of the porta potty. I just happened to be walking by and he goes, "Okay, who runs this place? I was like, what's wrong?" He goes, "I just have to tell you something. I took photos of those porta potties, and I'm taking them back to the construction site, and I'm telling my boss we have to have fancy porta potties." So, and it does make a difference when people are coming to stay.
So more of the win-win about agritourism and what we're doing out here is it helps farmers survive in the lean times. It offers our guests an authentic educational experience with the goats, the trees, even the little ants on the ground, or even the wasps that are building nests. They're important. They're important in this biodiversity. The benefits is also income diversity. We get to preserve the land, and it builds appreciation for food and farming.
And it encourages, young people like our grandson. I mean, we're able to enjoy him because he comes out here and hangs out with us. He's a chicken whisperer, by the way, if you can tell by the picture, but he really is. It's been such a treasure because so many farmers and ranchers have to have other jobs. And we feel so blessed to have been able to be here on this property, taking care of this land. And we feel like we're appointed caretakers.
The agritourism really has allowed us to remain focused on the stewardship and the community building. And it really just allows people to chill out a little bit, come up here, chill out, and learn a little bit at the same time.
Yeah. Yep. So as Corey was saying, there's so many things that are so beneficial to this county and to Colorado overall. I mean, agritourism has been around since I think the 50s, and agriturismo in Italy and all over the world. And we've been, our taxes are filed with the state and federally because it's recognized as a viable business opportunity, which helps sustain everyone. And here in this valley, it was known as the largest organic growing business west of the Mississippi for decades. I'm not sure if it still is.
We still have the highest concentration of organic farms in Colorado.
And, there's the wine tasting and all of the different agritourism opportunities from the farmers and the ranchers with cattle and with food. So we really feel like we're so blessed to have so much abundance of food and sustainable ways of living here in this valley. And we're just so grateful to be able to participate in this. And, like Corey was saying, we're number 8. Delta County is number 8 as far as agritourism businesses, but number 4 in revenue. And I know Corey was saying that it's increased in overall since, you see the 67, and the increase is just exponentially going up. And we're so thrilled to be able to have this. So, and with that said,
So more of our future, it could be at risk a little bit here in our county. We're earlier this year, things changed. As we mentioned before, we had been approved by our county planning director, and the assessors came out and gave us approval to do what we're doing. However, earlier this year, we received some information that the planning department in Delta County was attempting to retroactively target existing allowed by right uses, aka grandfathered uses.
yeah, there's, one of the disturbing things is it's not just us. We thought it was just us, but it's not. There's other agritourism locations in this valley being targeted, and it's really devastating. So we've partnered together. We have had to hire counsel to get to really go have them. It's one thing for us to read black and white information. It's a whole nother thing when an attorney gets involved and can really take a look. And are we are allowed by right. We're grandfathered, legal non-conforming, but for some reason the county is not wanting to support that. The county, by the way, the planning department, they're newer people in there. So one of the disturbing things is their new land use code that they created in 2024, which they're trying to push us into. They're trying to get us to permit for it as if we were a brand new business when we're going on our 8th year. There is not one mention of agritourism in the new land use code. So in other words, they kept telling us when we were in there, we went in like 4 hours total of meetings, that we're commercial, we're not agritourism, we're commercial, we need to be zoned for that. We need to be permitted for that. And we're trying to educate them. We like I said, we spent a lot of time going through this. We don't know why this is going on, but we really could use some help because this is happening without due process. And it's a whole thing. So our property rights are under attack right now. Agritourism is currently being targeted, and who's going to be next? We're preparing with getting support from not only local, but because we bring people in from all over the world, we can have people all over the world sign and share our petition. We're creating a groundswell, which was recommended to do, because it's not like taking our information and going into a court of law where we're just going in front of a judge. This is a whole kingdom, so to speak. So it was recommended that we do a groundswell. We currently have almost 1,000 actually over 1,000 signatures now, and with online and in-person signatures. We're also looking for help in connecting with media opportunities to make people aware of agritourism, what's going on in all of Colorado, because we're hearing that it's not just here. We're also hearing that it's not just the state. So we're not really sure what's happening all over. So we're looking for people to spread the word and support our land rights. So we have a fund. You can we have a site. You can either use the QR code and scan it, or you can go directly to the website and we can put that and share that in the note down in the bottom. Or you can reach out to us directly at info@sageviewranch.com. Just not to be confusing, but we started a petition site, and then that particular site, change.org, also asked for funds to help promote their site. Well, we had almost $1,000 worth of people donated to the site, thinking it was going to us, which we didn't even think that people would want to have, share money with us, but I guess it did. And so Anyway, so we created this spot fund. So when you go in, it's the spot fund for people that want to donate to our legal. They can do that. And we're working together now with not just us, but with other agritourism locations in our valley. We're teaming up together to do this because truthfully, we have to take care of this land and preserve what we've got. And I just can't imagine. I mean, we already know the infrastructure change that they're wanting to do when if we were to do this permitting. So anyway, we just really ask for help in whatever way you can.
And really, the long and the short of it, folks, is teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes.
And I know with the support of our people, we're helping support, and they're supporting us, and you guys at the Colorado Agritourism Association and Colorado Department of Agriculture and all these other folks and entities that we are reaching out to. This will just be a small blip in the road. Our future is very strong in agriculture and agritourism, and we look forward to sharing our space and our animals with folks for years to come.
Yes, because and I just have to say again, thank you so much to you, Barb, and to the Colorado Department of Agriculture and Corey, all that you guys do for the Agritourism Association and for standing with producers like us, for farms and ranchers, and for giving us resources to spread the word about all that we have to offer here. It is our lifeline. It's become that for us, and we want to have our grandson be able to do this as well if he chooses to. I don't think our kids want to at this point, but our grandson seems very interested. And we want to be able to invite other people and keep the education and awareness going. So we're proud of what we've built here, and we're ready to really fight and help all agritourism awareness and also protecting our land. So thank you so much, you guys.
Well, that was great. The pictures were wonderful. Your story is it's awesome what you've built, and your story is awesome. We did have some questions, so we'll start with Julie was asking about the certification you received in 2019, the agricultural certification. Is that a Delta County requirement or Colorado State requirement?
The Colorado State says that if you become a campground or do RVs, there is it's a Colorado statute, 6 CCR 1010, I think, or 10.6, but I can put that in there if somebody's interested. But that requires the state permission. You have to follow guidelines to make sure that campers and RVers are taken care of and that they have porta potties or they have the special things that they need. So that was required. Otherwise, everything as far as lodging and the animals and education and all of that, the events, they were all allowed by right. With the county. Now, when the county came out here, because they brought the assessor's office and the planning department, they gave us the permission to do the RV and tent stays. They provided education. They also made a section of our front area where the RVs are at commercial. That needed to be commercial by state. And then they approved us to do events and short-term lodging and our RVs, buses, unique stays, and all of that.
Very cool. Corinne asked, where did you get those fancy porta potties?
Well,
they are nice. I'm telling you, those are really nice.
Thank you.
Without getting too detailed about it, we have a local waste service company, and they have from time to time additional porta potties that are for sale. And so rather than rent the standard gray, drab looking ones, we bought these little porta potties that are a little nicer looking. And then Lori here was the designer for the interior design of the porta potties.
Fantastic. Yeah, the plants make a big difference, right? I mean,
they do.
Porta potties are what they are, but
and we have light switches and mirrors.
Yeah.
For people if they want to foo-foo up before they come out.
Yeah, very nice. And Martha was curious, what staff do you have to help support all of your activities, especially the education camp? Staff of one, I like it.
Right, right now, we've hired bartenders to help with our bar. We have a cleaning team that comes in when we have all of our stays that have to be turned over after a big event or wedding. Then we have some help that does that. Otherwise, it's he and I. We're hoping that we can bring on more staffing. That was our intention. Once we get through this with the county, then that is our attention. Our intention is to be able to bring on more people to help us out. We do have people that our son helps out. He comes in and does mowing and some of the things like that that we need help with. And yeah.
And we have lovely people of the community that sometimes volunteer their time, come over and help
Nice.
us do some weeding or do some gleaning of fruit or heck, even helping out with the goats.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Goats are awesome. They're wonderful pets, agriculture animals.
Right?
They are
Yeah,
so
they are.
incredible.
They're fun and they're very personal. Well, like they all have very distinct personality. Corey asked a question: are you year round or seasonal? How do you operate?
We're year round.
Okay.
Mhm.
Some of our unique stays, insofar as the buses, they have wood stoves in them. So folks love to come during the winter. We've even had a mom bring her two kids with a sled with a string in the middle of December and pulled her child around in the snow. But she was staying in the bus, and one mid-afternoon, I noticed all the windows and the doors of the bus were open. She had built a little bit too large of a fire and really made it hot inside the bus. The temperature was hot. So yeah, they're very effective at keeping things warm.
And then we also have, well, Scott calls them a heater with a lamp. I call them a fireplace that we have in each of our stays as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. So they can be quite comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if
The
it is.
cottage, of course, has the modern things in there. It has a wood burning stove and I guess it does have the heaters too. Yeah. And then we've even had tent campers come in the wintertime.
Sure.
That's durable.
Those people are tough.
Yep.
Yeah. I like heat myself, but wonderful. And I'm just curious myself, what is your full capacity then? Like how many people could be staying at your place at any
We can do
time?
70 on property and 32 in beds. So when we do our weddings, our max capacity is 120. And then, but people stay in other places, which is another thing with the this cooperation is there's other Airbnbs in the area. There's hotels that we partner with, and there's an historic hotel. There are a lot of things. And then also the food resources. We have a lot of pop-ups and chefs that are around and food trucks. And so by doing this, it brings people together. When we do our music events, we're supporting a lot of there's amazing local musicians here. So we bring the local musicians, and having the liquor license allowed us to be able to advertise. In the state of Colorado, there's regulations. And so now we can advertise and promote them and promote the food and that kind of thing.
Well, that's wonderful. And I bet that's kind of neat too. You could probably have a different food truck out there every evening. Makes it really interesting. Very cool. Does anybody have any questions for Lori and Scott? Martha's asking, any ideas what the motivation is for the county to want to change the land use code? Is it for tax revenue that they'd get if you were zoned commercial?
Boy, I wish we knew. We have been trying to figure it out, as well as the other venues that are being targeted now. Our fear is that well, I guess it's not a fear. We're wondering if it just could be that these new people in the planning department are overzealous and attempting to get people into this new land use code without knowing a lot of the history behind agritourism. Although we've gone in there and spoken at length with them.
Not to get too convoluted here, but we live in an unincorporated area of a county, of Delta County, right? And so we are beholden by their land use codes. Now, take this piece. We live just outside the town of Paonia, within a half a mile. So we're not in their jurisdiction. However, Paonia just passed a new master plan that talks extensively about the next economic drivers being agritourism, and they wholeheartedly support it.
Yeah.
Now tell me that doesn't, it makes us confused because we have the town that we live next to and as our mailing address that supports agritourism, yet the county we live in doesn't support it via their new land use codes.
And it could have been, I don't know. We're hoping that we can change this,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And our last ditch effort is to go in front of the county commissioners. We have not been in front of them yet. We don't even know if they know a lot about this yet. And so that's our next thing. And that's why we're creating the groundswell now. We're bringing the media and attention because the advisement we were given was that it's important to have that if we just go by ourselves, then if there's something behind the scenes that we're not knowing, then they won't be as apt to listen to us. Where if we have a groundswell and we have the community and the people of the state and the people beyond the state that are supporting us and helping us with this, then they'll realize this is constituents talking. These are your votes talking. And the economic drivers of this county depend on, and the ranchers that have been here for generations depend on this opportunity to sustain those small businesses. This is more small business community, right? So we want our local farm place and our local shops to be patronized, and the local restaurants that are all people like us, just here enjoying this community, making a living in the rural area of Colorado.
Yeah, Martha, it's a good question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Barb, if I could jump in here a little bit. I mean, I really applaud what Scott and Lori are doing in terms of trying to, help educate the people around them and understanding what's happening. And, a lot of times you don't realize what the regulatory implications are until it's kind of too late, right? You already have your plan, you're ready to pull the trigger, you're ready to start inviting people, and they're like, wait, I have to do what? And wait, you're going to take away my ag status? What? So, we're one of the things through working with Lori and Scott, as well as others around the state, I'm increasingly hearing these kinds of things happening, from Southeast Colorado, Southwest Colorado, Northeast Colorado, some of the Front Range counties that kind of, go a little bit east of the Front Range where there's a lot of agritourism activity. So one of the things after we were all talking last week that I'm going to take and run with it for our organization is to really get some of these conversations growing in a more broad sense. So let's pull together like what is happening in Southeast Colorado, Southwest, Northwest, Northeast, Western Slope, Front Range, and have these conversations so that we can help the legislators and county commissioners and elected officials understand. I mean, because of the work that we did with the House Bill 1480 that got the liability signage passed, agritourism is defined in state code and identified and supported, right? So it just feels like that if we don't come together, that some of these things can happen and create impediments for us being able to do revenue generating options on our own land. And I see a number of people on the call today are from different parts of the state. So have your ears to the ground. And if you're hearing things that are happening in your areas, please just loop me in and let me know, because we're looking to create, we just talked about this on Friday, so I'm just kind of germinating on this idea. But how do we create more conversations? The folks that the Mitchells are working on with in terms of the legal advisors. Once people get to know an issue, there may be more opportunity to get some champions from planning departments, from economic development groups, from chambers, from legal side of things. So how can we have these conversations so that people learn more about it and understand that you need to look at the bigger picture and not just the small, like what is the budget line item that somebody in their county is trying to fix, right? So it's just going to take a bigger effort with a lot of us getting involved in just having conversations and realizing that it's not just one person coming up against this barrier with their county and that's the end of the road, right? It's bigger than that. So I applaud you guys for getting the groundswell going. And, I look to us and to other partners to try to spread that word beyond just what you're doing in Delta County, because you're not alone and it's not just happening in Delta County. So the flip side of that is we also need good examples that we all then can share with our respective counties and planners and commissioners of who is doing it well, who is doing a good job of being supportive and writing it into their codes. And, when we do one of these broader webinars or kind of roundtables or something, we'll try and invite the folks from Paonia that really are supportive of it. And maybe there's other examples in the state. So anyway, it's just an idea that's just starting and coming together, but we need all of you to contribute and say, oh, this person is really all about it. Or, these people used to, and now they've changed their mind, but maybe they don't know they changed their minds. But just helping all of the operators within the state be able to be successful. So anyway, that's my soapbox for that. And you'll hear more about it from our organizations and when we get something together and what that looks like. And if you have any thoughts, suggestions, put them in the chat, or I put my email in there. Feel free to email me. And reach out, because I'd love to hear what's happening in your part of the state, good or bad, so that we can all learn from it. Thanks.
Great points. And Juliet asked if we would email this recording out. Yes, we will. And I also put into the chat our website that you can find all of our past webinars and podcasts as well. But yes, we'll make sure I'll get this recording out to everybody. Any other questions for these guys? Corey or the Mitchells? Oh, that was fantastic. Great examples, but also, just a great overall view of what all the work that the Colorado Agritourism Association is doing. It's fascinating. And I did not realize Colorado was number 3 in the country. It's neat to know that. I think, a lot of people come here because they want the Western experience, but I didn't realize we were so high up. That's awesome. Well, wonderful. Corey, do you have any last words that you'd like to share?
My stomach's starting to growl. So just everybody go forth and prosper and produce the great Colorado products that we all enjoy.
Yeah, well, thanks for all you do. You do an amazing job with the Colorado Agritourism Association. It's wonderful. Lori and Scott, any final words you'd like to share?
Thank you so much for inviting us on this webinar. We're proud to be Colorado Proud, proud to be in the agritourism business, and really honored to be able to be sharing what we're doing to help others maybe make the same choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you guys. I know you all are really busy, and certainly all the work that you're doing on your farm is to be able to take this time away is wonderful. And it's, put a smile on my face for sure to see all the cool stuff you're doing. I'm sure everybody else. So, well, all Colorado Proud members, stay tuned with Colorado Proud Cultivation Station for our podcast. Our next podcast, we're going to be talking to an ag tech founder. They're located in Boulder, Colorado, doing custom fermentation. So we will be talking to the founder of Seedling Biosystems next on Cultivation Station. And look for our August webinar, where we will be looking at Colorado's appetite for eating and buying local. Very similar to what we're talking about here, but we'll dig deep into the latest survey results that were sent out to not only Colorado Proud members, but also Colorado consumers, and see what they're really looking for and why they love buying Colorado when they can. So thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful day.